So this has been a whirlwind of a week, and a very unexpected reading week, actually. Let's talk about the week ending October 28th, 2024. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I'm a composer, now also a booktuber. You can find my music in the Wheel of Time Season 2, His Dark Materials Season 3, and the official Brent Week's companion album for a series, Lightbringer, that came out last year. So, I always love doing these reading roundups. It's the fun way to kind of talk about what I read, hear from you about what you've read, and just kind of talk about more books, give each other recommendations, help each other fill out our TBRs, because we all have way too small TBRs, of course. We could always use more books, to fill that out. So, without further ado, let's kind of dive in. It's been an unexpected reading week, actually. So what did I read this week? So I had mentioned to you in a November TBR that I wanted to read as a kind of a catch-up, Stormlight catch-up in anticipation for Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive Book 5, Wind and Truth, which comes out December 6th. I already have it pre-ordered. I've read all the first four, and I read them all in the year 2020, actually, I think. Or it must have been 2020, I think, when the fourth one came out. And I love them all, but I gotta say, I like the fourth one the least. It's called Rhythm of War, if you don't know already. And I wanted to kind of revisit it, and give myself a refresher, because it had been 4 years, almost now. 4 years, yeah, exactly, since the last book came out. And I'm really glad I did, because I'm about now 130 pages into this. Kind of started it a little bit early because I figured, I had a gap of a couple of days between my reading and things like that. And I wanted to kind of start this and take it at my own pace. I think this is one of those books where it's so massive. It's like 1,200 something pages, and I don't want to breeze through it. I want to kind of savor it and enjoy it throughout the month. So I think the plan for this one is I'm just going to I'm going to read a few pages here and there and kind of let it take the whole month to read. And not try to binge it, because I know when Wind and Truth comes out, I'm going to be binging that thing. Like, day one reader, I'm going to try to read it and enjoy it, of course, but read it really fast. And so I really wanted to kind of take my time with this book, see if I feel a little differently about it than I did the first time around. And I got to say, like, the character work is really great. The action scenes are actually fantastic. And I think, like, I've tempered expectations now compared to what I was feeling about the book before. So I'm actually really having a blast with this, and it feels up there with the Stormlight that I remember in the first three. So excited to kind of do another read through of this. So that's what I read as a kind of unsurprising read, I guess you could say. Now, here was a surprising read. I was just walking around in the library, and I had I was kind of just, I had a book on hold for me there, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And I just came across this book. And I remember, the last couple of weekly updates I've put up, and weekly reading roundups and things like that. You all have mentioned that you're reading memoirs, and it made me miss memoirs. And I came across Michael Richards, the guy who plays Kramer in Seinfeld, one of my favorite shows of all time, write a memoir called Entrances and Exits. Really, really cool so far. And I just decided to pick it up, read a few pages. And, the Kramer in the show comes through in the book. Like, I feel like that's Michael Richards' alter ego. And yet there's a lot of spiritual profundity in this that I didn't expect actually going into it. So I just picked it up like 2 days ago, already 2/3 of the way through. Don't know if you could see that. But I've been really enjoying it. It reads really fast, yet it really makes you think. And it's kind of, I don't know if this makes sense. It's kind of relit a creative spark in me. The way he approaches the craft of what he does is very much like taking it very seriously, like going really into the character, getting to know the character. And I understand that, like, even though acting is very different to music, say, or other creative pursuits, there are so many parallels that you can kind of find a through line. So I've been actually really reinvigorated to jump back into music and try to push the envelope in my own little ways. So I don't know, it's been a really fun, unexpected surprise. So this is what I kind of dove into this week. So what am I going to read this coming week? So I'm going to definitely finish this, and probably in the next day or two. It's a quick read, so it'll be easy to do. And it's kind of lit a fire under me that I'm going to probably try to read more memoirs I always say like I do fantasy, sci-fi, historical fiction, horror, and memoirs. And I haven't been reading much memoirs this year, so I think it's kind of relit that passion for me to be inspired by other people's work. So really interesting so far. Gonna definitely make my way through this, but at a slower pace. And then I'm going to actually start 2 books this week. One is depending on a read along, but let me talk about this other one first. Is of course Philip Chase, Booktube's own Philip Chase, has written a fantasy trilogy. If you don't know, called the Edan trilogy, and it is really really good fantasy. And you could tell it's good fantasy when it has blurbs by like Mark Lawrence, John Gwynne, Steven Erikson, who did Malazan Book of the Fallen. Like that gives you an idea of the kind of caliber of fantasy we're dealing with here. And I love the first book, The Way of Edan. And so I'm going to start with The Prophet of Edan. I'm really looking forward to getting back into it. For those of you who don't know, there's one unique quality I really like about it is about, religious zealots and how religion can be used to manipulate the masses in good and nefarious ways. So, and not as always as it seems. And I really love that kind of political intrigue aspect to it. The character work is really great, and the words just fly off the page. So I'm really looking forward to getting to that. And of course, with all these books, by the way, I'm leaving the link in the description, as I always do, because I think it's important to highlight these books. And if you feel compelled to buy them, check them out below. So I'm going to be reading that. I'm also going to be reading, depending on when this buddy read officially starts. So Secrets Read and Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems both have a wonderful Discord called Fright Club, where they pick a book every month to read together. And this one is called Night Parade by Ronald Malfi. Now, I don't know too much about this one, but I'm excited to get into it with all of them. So I'm going to kind of start that at whenever we actually get this, kind of when we get the official start time to start that. I'll probably make my way through a little bit of that. So those are kind of the 2 I have on deck with these other ones that I'm finishing. This is going to be an eclectic reading week, actually. Got fantasy, we got memoirs, we got horror. Got everything all across the map, so that's very exciting. And after you watch this video, I always like to say, like, I love having a dialogue with you. We always discover great books together and through each other. So leave it in the comments and let me know what you read this last week and stuff like that. But moving right along, I always have a list here because I don't want to forget anything. And it's always very easy when you're kind of in the throes of speaking on camera, you forget things. I know I do. So let's talk a little bit about the channel itself. So we crossed the 700 subscribers mark just as of yesterday. So wanted to thank you all so much for joining this community here, a growing community and a thriving community of book addicts like myself. And I just really grateful for you all being here. Glad you're enjoying the content so far. And I always say, like, let me know how I can continue to improve. I always try to pick something in each video that I can kind of tweak and try to experiment to improve. So always want to provide value for you guys. So appreciate you being here. I wanted to also mention that this last week I had 2 videos go up. One was, instead of doing a regular review, because I think reviews don't necessarily get the hugest traction, I think, on Booktube, which is a shame because I love reviewing books and I want to do more of them anyways. I don't think I'm not so concerned about the algorithm gods, that I'm going to tailor my content specifically for that. I want to do what I think, you would all enjoy as well. So I'm going to continue to do reviews, but this particular book by Stephen King, has been adapted as well. And I think the adaptation actually stands up to the magnificence of the book. And that is, of course, Stephen King's Carrie, the first published novel that he did. And so I did kind of a side-by-side comparison. Where did the adaptation work? Where did it not? Where did the book work? And where did it not? So that was a very unique matchup because very rarely do adaptations actually do justice to the spirit of the book and the way the author intended. So this was one of those few, and I figured I would do a nice video for that. So you could check that out up here if you want to. And then the other video I put up, I always like to do these a few days before the month ends if I can, is my November TBR video, which I'm also linking up here. And the reason I like to do that is, I have this Discord channel, which I've linked below. And I always want to, see if other people want to join in on a read along. And it's not like an official channel read along, it's a soft read along. I can open up some channels on the Discord and we could have some discussions about it, in a more casual format. So if you all want to join in on any of these, also let us know in the comments, And then we can all kind of have them, even if it's 2 or 3 people, who cares? It's all about the love of reading. So if you're all feeling it, let me know. The last day to vote for the official 2025 read along is coming up, and that is going to be on October 31st. It's just 2 days away from this taping. So if you haven't already voted, link is also below, and then it's also on my community post. So make sure to vote for your choice, because I would want to make sure your opinion is heard. I always say I'm the steward of the channel. This is our channel, and I never want to make these decisions lightly, and I definitely don't want to make them alone. I want to make them with you in mind. So what is our official 2025 read along going to be? Let us know, and which one you'd want to join in on. And then, of course, in the Discord, I'm going to open up those channels for the relevant read-alongs, and then we can kind of get started, hit the ground running on January 1st. So that was kind of a last-minute thing that's coming up here. So it looks like I'm only going to have time, unfortunately, for one video this week. And the reason being is I'm going to Vegas tomorrow to meet with Linda's aunt and uncle. And also her parents are going to be flying down and kind of meeting with us there as well. So it's going to be nice to kind of hang out with her family for a couple days and stuff. And her dad just recently did, as of yesterday actually, did the Ironman competition, the full Ironman, which if you don't know is like a 2.4 mile swim. It's like a 120 mile bike ride or something. And then it's like a full marathon after that, 26.2 mile run. And he did this all at the age of 65, and it was a 15-hour straight like marathon, essential ultra marathon. I don't know how he did this at any age, let alone 65. So super proud of him. We're going to celebrate as well, and get to all meet up. And then I'll be back, Thursday late night or Friday early morning, film a new video for you. And then I'm going to be doing a shoot actually the following weekend because, I think I mentioned to you all, I kind of formed a company with a couple friends of mine who we'd worked on a film called Dead Whisper. I was a composer on it. And on this particular project, we are all going to be producers, and I'm also going to be a composer. So I'm really looking forward to running the set on the weekend. And it's another horror film, so I'm really looking forward to kind of diving into that. So we'll keep you all posted on how that goes. But back to our regularly scheduled programming on the following Monday with a weekly reading roundup. I think I'm going to keep them to Mondays based on, all of you have kind of unanimously mentioned that you prefer to see these on Mondays instead of Sundays. That works perfectly for me. I can get a little bit of the weekend off and then kind of hit the ground running on Mondays. So if that all works for you, that's kind of going to be the schedule going forward. And, beyond that, as far as the channel stuff is considered, like I got a couple of special guest things I'm trying to work out at the moment. I'm really excited about, and I'm going to keep you all posted as we get those kind of live stream discussions settled. So really looking forward to that. But let me know in the comments kind of like what you read this week. Anything interesting happened to you this week? I always like to create a dialogue, a nice little back and forth where we talk about the books that we love, books that we think other people should read, and just kind of look out for each other, I have a genuine interest in what you are all up to. We've all kind of become friends in this community over the last 6 months or so. So let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It always helps the channel. I know it's one of those things you kind of have to say, but it really does help the channel a lot, and more than you would know, because YouTube starts to figure out what kind of audience likes these videos, post it out to the right people, and that's always important, is to find more fellow book addicts, right? So with that, I'm Nick Hill with Shelf-Esteem. Thank you so much for watching. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Have a wonderful week. I will see you on Friday with a new video. Take care.